When the fire engine came, the fire was already to the ground.
Up in flames, Exuma straw vendors distraught as fire destroys their goods just days before the National Family Island Regatta.
It's a major leap for quality education for all. I'm Clint Watson. The story's ahead in the Bahamas tonight.
And legislators strengthen immigration laws. The Bahamas tonight. The National Report starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Every Day.
Exuma straw vendors are picking up the pieces tonight after fire destroys their straw market in Georgetown. Good evening, everyone. I'm Keish Latterly.
And I'm Charisma Robinson. The blaze occurred days before the National Family Island Regatta that provides a significant economic boost for the island, which vendors were hoping to capitalize on. Cleopatra Murphy has the details.
20 to 25 vendors at the Exuma straw market are displaced after a fire ravaged their wooden stalls on Wednesday night, and hours later, plumes of smoke still drifted into the air as police officers returned to put out what was left of the fire that occurred just 1 week before the National Family Island Regatta. One of those vendors highlighted a concern about the lack of available fire trucks on the island.
When the fire engine came, the fire was already to the ground. And it could have been prevented if there was something closer to Georgetown. This is the capital.
Superintendent McTavish Daniels says officers attempted to put out the fire using a portable water tank from the Bahamas Electricity Corporation until the fire truck arrived from the airport, but by then, the blaze was out of control. It was a blow for vendors who had just brought in their new merchandise and were hoping to benefit from regatta sales.
Because of what they had in the building, straw work, clothing, etc., I imagine that would have kind of fueled the fire.
Deputy Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis and a delegation including Area MP Anthony Moss traveled to Exuma Thursday morning where they visited the market that had burnt to the ground. They met with the vendors, some who believe their losses to be in the thousands. He says officials are concerned and wanted to devise some plan for relief.
I was happy this morning to have met with the General Manager of Sandals, and we have already made arrangements to set up as quickly as this site has been cooled off and cleared to set up some tents, temporary tent with for vendors to continue to apply, and hopefully within a day or two they should be up.
Sandals has also agreed to contribute $10,000 to the vendors. Island Administrator Neil Campbell says in a future meeting, the community will decide if vendors will return to the site or relocate. He says they were distressed by their loss, but are hopeful.
After all was said and done, I heard a lot of them remark that, you never know what God has planned for them. Probably this is something towards something big and better. But at the same time, I want to give hats off to the MP and the Deputy Prime Minister for coming in to really speak to them, because I think they really wanted to have the leaders come forward to really offer some sort of relief and to show their concern, and also to tell them what is ahead for them.
Authorities are investigating the cause of the fire, but Campbell believes the problem was electrical, although he says a vagrant started a fire by accident recently that they were able to put out. Cleopatra Murphy, ZNS Network News.
Now, in wake of this blaze, Area Member of Parliament Anthony Moss says there's a great need for additional fire trucks on the island. The island has just one fire truck, which was purchased through community efforts. While Moss says he would like the government's assistance, he intends to ensure the island gets at least one more truck no matter what.
I must say that in the past we've initiated a program of which we started by way of community effort and corporate citizens, where we have placed a fire station and truck in the community of Baratari. It's our intent to use that as a pilot project. We will duplicate that by placing one here in Georgetown and possibly somewhere in Little Exuma until we're able to have the assistance of the government to do further.
Now, Chairman of the Straw Market Authority, Kevin Simmons, also traveled to Exuma on a fact-finding mission to see just how authorities can help vendors. He says Nassau vendors sympathize with those on the island.
The vendors in Nassau at the downtown market, they express their concerns and whatever they can do to assist with getting these vendors back up on their feet, they are willing to do their part and assist as best we could. So the Straw Market Authority is here. We will be here to see, the Deputy Prime Minister mentioned the generous offer from Sanders, and so we will ensure that everything gets moving. And so for as long as it's taken, I'm sure I'm mandated by him to be here to make sure these vendors are up and running in time for the regatta.
Well, back here in the capital, a landlord and two families are left distraught after an apartment complex was gutted by fire. The fire broke out yesterday afternoon, spreading quickly. Jared Higgs was on the scene as the owner of the building struggled to come to grips with the loss.
It's a phone call nobody wants to receive. Rudolph Minnis wasn't home when his neighbors rang to inform him that the two units next to his home were on fire.
By the time I got here, the fire engine, police, the neighbors, everybody was here.
The fire destroyed one unit and caused severe damage to another. And while the main house where Minnis lives only received minor smoke damage, that didn't make it any easier to watch his investment go up in flames.
All my life saving went into this place. I make sure I try to get it to a good standard that's comfortable for me to live in and that I didn't have to worry about repairing nothing right up and now. At least, you know, I thought it was my pride and joy. And then to come and see that, it's heart-wrenching.
Minnis says he is hopeful that his insurance will replace the buildings. However, his tenants won't be so lucky.
But I'm not even thinking about me with the places insured. I'm thinking about my tenants who has those little kids, and you know, they're suffering right now because they don't have any place to live. They lose all their furniture and stuff, so it's difficult for them.
Police fire services are investigating the cause of the blaze that also claimed the life of a cat belonging to one of Minnis's tenants. Jared Higgs, ZNS Network News.
Prime Minister the Right Honourable Perry Christie says by the time he makes his budget communication in June, the country will have a new education policy. This policy is expected to address the significant challenges facing the public education system and is also geared toward putting a serious dent in crime. Today at the official opening of the Marjorie Davis Institute for Special Education, Mr. Christie made it clear that no student will be overlooked despite their learning challenges. The new policy is expected to be one of the transformative initiatives by the Christie administration designed to impact a troubling social sector. Here's Clint Watson.
The proposed new education policy that will be unveiled in the upcoming budget communication by Prime Minister the Right Honourable Perry Christie will focus on children with behavioural difficulties who would have traditionally been sent to places like Program Shore, urban renewal and churches.
To recalibrate and to dedicate the resources to ensure that children who, for difficulties that are confronting our system, are allowed to drop out, incapable of reading and writing.
Mr. Christie says there's absolutely no reason why the Bahamas should have a system that allows young people to drop out of school incapable of reading and writing. It's with this in mind the new policy will target those youth most vulnerable for committing crime. The Prime Minister says no resources will be spared and they'll ensure the policy is mandated by law.
Because they are the people who, because of the insecurities brought on by their inability to measure up, go and commit violence, go and commit crimes. The resources of this country must be rationalized to recognize that in the absence of parents with the capacity to help their children, even to recognize their children have a problem, the state must necessarily find a way.
The nation's leader was delivering the keynote address at the official opening of the Marjorie Davis Institute for Special Education. This new government school, which formerly housed Our Lady's Catholic School, caters to children with special needs. It is named in honor of an 86-year-old veteran educator with a decorated 47-year-old career and service to public life.
I trust that you will be motivated to continue to strive for excellence and continue the legacy of Ms. Davis by ensuring that our students embrace and receive the full benefits of knowledge and skills that you will offer to them in the halls of this school.
every child has a right to receive full education to meet their individual needs, be it mental, physical, emotional, behavioral, or for their maladjustment challenges.
I am a promise. I am a possibility. I am a promise, promise, promise with a capital P. I am a great, big, vanilla potentiality.
Presently, there are only 20 students enrolled here at the school. However, it has a capacity of 100. Officials here at the school say they expect that in the new school year, 2015, they'll meet that capacity. Clint Watson, ZNS Network News.
Thanks so much, Clint. The issue of intelligence gathering in its foundation in law surfaced in Parliament yesterday. Long Island Member of Parliament Loretta Butler Turner told Parliament that against the backdrop of wiretapping of cells in the Bahamas by the U.S., she's uneasy with the authority of government's National Intelligence Agency.
Going on more than a year, Mr. Speaker, well over a year, this government has still yet to bring legislation to Parliament to provide for the National Intelligence Agency because it has no legal foundation. And this was brought back to me today when the member for Fox Hill stood up to speak about what the U.S. is saying about their spying or their use of intelligence in our country. We're getting answers from our foreign partners, but yet I don't have an answer or legislation for what's happening by our own agencies, Mr. Speaker.
National Security Minister Dr. Bernard Nottage defended the agency, explaining that it's simply an arm of existing law enforcement, though he added that legislation detailing the agency's works is pending.
The government of the Bahamas is not operating any secret spy agency. I did promise that legislation will be brought to this House, and it will be brought to this House. I repeat it now. We are, in fact, we have drafted legislation, and we are simply benchmarking it now, Mr. Speaker. But we are not doing any spying. It is a simple agency for intelligence gathering, just as the police have, the defense force has, the prison service has. They all have intelligence agencies, Mr. Speaker. Nothing to do with spying.
Over in the Senate, there was a heated exchange as senators went head-to-head on amendments to the Immigration Act. Our friend Carrie has details.
Proposed amendments to the Immigration Act will wipe the tears from the eyes of those impacted by immigration issues while empowering people. This from Leader of Government Business in the Senate, the Honorable Allison Maynard Gibson. She said the Immigration Amendment Bill will also address the country's international obligations on illegal migration.
Madam President, also introduces provisions to assist undocumented residents in becoming regularized. The bill provides for the grant of permanent residence at a nominal fee for minors who, under the Constitution, have a right to apply for registration as a citizen at the age of 18. Parents of minors who have this right at 18, but are in the meantime are in no man's land, so to speak, may now obtain legal status for their children before they reach